I'm Sam from Weekly Abductions. I'm bringing you a top 10 list of Ark dinosaurs slash creatures. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 aquatic creatures. So it brings us to number 10, the Euryptids. Everyone knows these ones, everyone hates these ones. They are basically the sea scorpions of Ark. So scorpions on Ark, not terrible to deal with. The sea scorpions could be a complete pain because if you don't have a lot of oxygen and slash health, one sting from these guys knocks you out pretty quickly, unless you have high torpor, which even sometimes then you'll still get knocked out and potentially end up having your character get killed. They can sneak up on you pretty quickly because they seem like they would just be on the sea floor, but like they do swim up and they can sting you, and it catches you off guard if you're not quick enough with a combination of stamina, oxygen, and movement speed, which helps you swim faster in water to get away from them. So I have to give them the 10th of this one. So number 9 is the Leedsichthys. In Ark, it's like a giant kind of whale fish because it looks like a normal fish, but it's massive. And if you ever take boats out, which me and some friends of mine are big boaters in Ark, these things just come out of nowhere and then just start attacking your boat for no reason. And it's very annoying. We like to build base boats and have fun out on the water and just be mobile and very moving around. And these are definitely a hindrance. These guys just come and just destroy your boat, and it's not fun, but it's also a slight jump scare because you don't expect it, because you're just like sailing, having a good time, and then they just come up and start attacking you, and you're just like, what is happening? At least when they first came out. Now it's just like, where are these guys? And you just try and take them out. I chose the Leedsichthys as my number 9 just because they're definitely a pain, but they're a kind of a good tame as well, just because you can swim up to them and then steal like raw fish off of them if you're close enough, and then they'll try and attack you, but if you can swim faster away, you have nothing to fear. But you can also get a lot of prime meat and like fish meat from them. And also they have a boss version of these ones as well, which you can get some random gear from them, which could be high end or low level, which is also really nice. So number 8, I chose the Basilosaurus. This one kind of stayed more towards the surface. It didn't like going down deep in the ocean. In Ark, like once it starts going down deeper, it starts to get injured and like hurts itself. So it's more of like a shallow water creature. It has a bunch of manta rays that like are hoarding around it. So if you're trying to tame one of these, you have to take out like the giant amount of manas that have just been like swarming this creature. They're a really good tame because if you kill them, they give you some stuff for boss battles, but also if you tame them throughout the time you have it, or have like a bunch of these, you can actually get crude oil from them. And then with that oil, you can make that into gasoline, and so it's like an oil farm that you can have with these creatures through extended periods of time. So they are a very useful tame for that. Number 7 is going to be the Dunkleosteus, which is another large fish. They didn't have true teeth, but they had jagged kind of like parts at the front of its mouth that kind of served as teeth. In Ark, these are a really good tame for like underwater mining. They kind of have what looks more like a metal kind of structure to their face in Ark. They're really good for harvesting oil nodes underground or metal nodes that are found underwater as well, along with some other mining stuff in there. They're definitely a good one to get. Also a sketchy one, because usually when you find one, there's multiples. So if you start trying to tame one, a bunch will start hoarding towards you. So you have to either take out all the ones that you don't want and leave the one that you want to tame, or kind of just knock that one out and then take out the others, or knock out the one, run away for a little bit, and then come back for that one. So now we're gonna go to number 6. So number 6 is the shark that is still around today, the Megalodon. Now, so number 6 is gonna be the Megalodon, which is basically like a giant shark. I'm not gonna call it a great white because it's debatable on whether or not they're related in any way, shape, or form. So in Ark, they kind of make The Megalodon looked like a great white, but also slightly a tiger shark because it has stripes on it. It's a good early kind of tame. If you didn't want to tame the Ichthyosaurus, which unfortunately didn't make it on my list, but the Ichthyosaurus and the Megalodon are like a good first starters. The Ichthyosaurus is a lot faster and a passive tame, and it's easier because they kind of just swim up to you, opposed from trying to swim up to attack you. But the Megalodon is another good early tame. It is a lot slower, and you have to be careful because you can get it into precarious situations when you first tame it and get it killed, which I've done multiple times, and very sad because I got a really good color and all sorts of stuff with it. But it is a very good early tame to just get a bunch of raw fish meat and raw meat from other aquatic animals, and a way to just swim around the ocean that's not a boat without having the lead synthis attack you. So number 5. My number 5 is going to be a weird one if you don't understand, but if you understand, you kind of know why it's up there. It's the saber-toothed salmon. And the reason I have saber-toothed salmon this high up on the list is because if you fish an arc, which a lot of people don't do because it's kind of tedious and time consuming, but if you fish an arc and you catch these, you can actually get blueprints and some gear from fishing in the game. So if you have higher level fishing rods, like if you have an ascendant fishing rod with some good stats on it and you catch saber-toothed salmons, are the best. If you get some coelacanths, if you get the larger ones, you get a better chance for more different loot or variety of things that you can catch with. But the saber-toothed salmons are always the best, and especially the larger ones. So if you have a larger one with a multiplier on it, it is nice to try and go for those ones specifically. There's various baits you can use for fishing. Sap and honey are like kind of the better ones to use for fishing, for the better chances for those like higher, like more ascendant or master class like kind of blueprints or weaponry, because you can get both of those in there, and that's always nice to do. It is time consuming, but you can get a lot of good stuff from that. Given I do play on dedicated servers, so like they have the chance of finding those more rare gears is kind of amplified more, but it is still possible to get that on official servers. It takes time. Just don't attack them individually, because if they usually go around in groups. So if you hit one of them, you get swarmed by saber-toothed salmons like the piranhas, and that's not fun. So number 4 is Charlie the Unicorn's favorite sea creature, and that's the Leopleurodon. So the Leopleurodon is an interesting tame in Ark. They are super rare, so there's like only 1 to 2 of them on the map, kind of like the Giganotosaurus and the Titanosaurus. The same thing with the Titanosaurus. When you tame these ones, they're not rideable, but you don't get to keep them. So they only last for, I think the max that I've seen was like 45 minutes. And they're like very helpful for deep sea diving, because when you follow them around, they have like these colorful bubbles around them, which actually when you're close nearby, they will give you oxygen. And also when you have these, the chance of deep sea loot crates get boosted exponentially, so you have a chance to find rare gear in deep sea loot crates, which is very nice. It's very helpful, but it is a bummer that you can only keep them for so long, because it would be a cool tame to just have permanently. But there is a reason that they don't do that, because A, it gives you a oxygen buff and a loot buff, so it would be kind of broken if you could keep that, especially for larger tribes. But it is a really cool tame to get, and if you find one, it's always fun to attempt to tame it. So number 3 is going to be the Plesiosaurus. You can actually put a building platform on them. It's not going to be very big, because the Plesiosaurs aren't like, they're definitely really big when you're in the water with them, but they're not big enough to put like a really big base like on the Titanosaur. It'd be kind of like the same level or close to like a Brano, like kind of base wise. They usually travel in packs of 2. When you see them out in the wild, there'll usually be 2 of them, and it'd be it's pretty easy to kind of tame these because there's like a certain depth level that they don't go past. So if you just get to that point and then you could just shoot them down, or like it's a cheating way of doing it, but you can get to that point where they're like close enough, and then you just hit them, and when they start to like de-aggro, you just swim down, get the aggro back up, and then continuously fire at them with a crossbow, which is by far the best one that I like to use. The harpoon gun, it works, but it's not as good as the crossbow, because the crossbow, a lot less stuff to craft unless you don't mind just putting in that extra effort for the harpoon gun. But the crossbow is by far one of the best ones to tame with via water creatures. But it does have a base platform, which is also a very big plus. So you can put a platform and a base on Nessie. So next up for number 2, we have the Tuso-Toothless, which is basically like a giant squid. I wouldn't call it an octopus because it has 2 longer ones than the rest of its tentacles, which is more squid-like. The best way to tame these ones is it's a passive tame. So you want to have a tame with really large health that you kind of coax it into attacking. So essentially you have to have it grappled, because then you have to swim up and passive tame it, which is not easy, because sometimes they let go and then they just kill you. So a good one to use is essentially a plesiosaur or a mosasaur with a platform on back that has like a bed that you can spawn off of when you're trying to tame these ones, or multiple beds. You probably want multiple beds if you're trying to do this, if you don't get it fairly quickly. And you need to use black pearls in order to tame these. You can essentially grab somebody and just like hold them in place and then just continuously attack them, which is not fun, but it is a good tame. It's a hard tame, very kind of more late game tame. So number 1, you should all know this by now, is the Parasaurolophus from Jurassic Park 1. I'm kidding, it's actually the Mosasaurus. So the Mosasaurus is a kind of my favorite just because I like the Mosasaurus. It's a giant, well, at least in Ark, it's a giant creature. It's bigger than the Plesiosauruses. It has its own boss variant for it, which you can get really good gear from there, along with the Megalodon, which I forgot to mention that, and that's my apologies. But the Megalodon has a boss version, Mosasaurus has a boss version. It's a really good one. Also has a base platform, which it's useful for taming the giant squid, because you can have it attack it, and the Mosasaur usually has a lot of health, and if you pump that up along with other stuff with like even a base on top, or if you have like 2 of these and use one, you have to kind of put that one to passive. So you want to make that creature not attack it, because otherwise your tame could essentially kill what you're taming or fuck up the taming progress of it and making it a lower level than what you want it to be. I've made some very interesting bases on the back of it. Still in the process of making kind of like a UFO on the back of it, so like a circular shaped one. I've been able to do it with a boat, but I have not been able to do it with a mosasaur platform, but I am working on that, because if you just see that kind of swimming towards the top, it'd be pretty interesting to have go by. And the lead synthes won't try and destroy it like it does most of my boats, which I'm sad about because I like building boats. The Mosasaurus is a really good tame. It's very strong, very quick. The Tuso-Toothless is faster than the Mosasaur, but the Mosasaur can keep up with it pretty quickly. So that's the end of my Ark aquatic animals. I'm either going to bring you the fantasy animals next, or non-dinosaur land creatures that are prehistoric. Maybe I can make like a tier list of just my personal preference tier list in a later video. We'll see. Thank you for watching. If you want to check out more of our top 10 lists, check the link up over here. If you want to see more from Culz Paranormal, check that link right over here. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe. Switch that notification bell from personalized to all. And let me know in the comment if you agree with this list, or if you think some should be higher or added to the list.